Okay, so your apical impulse had a short and gentle tap, which is good. I palpated the apical pulse at the fifth intercostal space. So now I'm going to be palpating your aortic, pulmonic, Erb's point, tricuspid, and mitral areas for any thrills. Okay, so this is aortic. This is pulmonic. This is Erb's point. This is tricuspid, and here is your mitral. Okay. So there were no thrills in the aortic, pulmonic, Erb's, or tricuspid, or the mitral valve areas, which is good. And now I'm going to be auscultating your heart sounds in the same areas. Okay. I'm auscultating at the aortic. I'm auscultating the aortic at the second right intercostal space. And this is the pulmonic. And it's at the second left intercostal space. And this is the pulmonic, which is at the third left intercostal space. I mean the Erb's point. And then now I'm going to do the tricuspid. And then this is the mitral. So now I'm going to palpate your different valve areas for any thrills. Okay. And I'm going to auscultate. So I'm auscultating the aortic at the second right inner space. This is the pulmonic at the second left space. And then at the third left space, I'm auscultating the Erb's point. And at the fifth left inner space, I'm auscultating the tricuspid. And at the mid-clavicular line, I'm auscultating the mitral valve area. And there were, so your rate was about in between a 60 and 100 beats per minute, which is good. The rhythm was regular, and there were no extra sounds or murmurs. And I also noticed that S1 was loudest at the apex, and S2 was loudest at the base, which is good. So, and there were also no S3 or S4 presence or extra heart sounds. Okay, so now I'm going to be inspecting your arms and for in size, and I'm going to be inspecting for the presence of edema. Can you hold them straight out for me? Okay. So I'm noticing that the arms are symmetrical in size. The color is consistent with ethnicity. And now I'm just going to palpate for any edema. Okay. So there was, the color was consistent with ethnicity, and the size was symmetric. Your arms were equal in size bilaterally, which is good, and there was no presence of edema. So now I'm going to inspect your fingers for clubbing, and I want you to hold your fingers like this. Now do the middle fingers, the ring fingers, the pinkies, and do the thumbs. Okay, so there was no presence of clubbing, which is good. There was no presence of clubbing, and the nail beds were angled at a 160-degree angle, which is good. So now I'm going to inspect the color of your hands and your arms, and the arms were consistent with ethnicity. And let me see the hands. There's no presence of cyanosis, which is good. So now I'll be palpating your fingers and for temperature, your arms and your hands and fingers for temperature. Let me see your hands. And I'm going to go ahead and do your capillary refill. Okay. So there was, your fingers and hands were warm to touch, and capillary refill was less than 3 seconds bilaterally, which is good. So now I'm going to just And now I'm just gonna palpate your pulses. And let me see. Palpate. I'm palpating your radial pulses. Okay, that's good. So your radial pulse was 2+ bilaterally, which is really good. So now I'm gonna be inspecting your legs. I'm gonna inspect your legs for skin color and hair distribution and stuff. So the hair is evenly distributed and the color of her legs are consistent with ethnicity. And wait, you can leave them up. So now I'm just gonna palpate your legs for the temperature and determine if there's any edema, okay? Okay, so there was no edema present and your skin was warm to touch, which is good. So now I'm just gonna palpate the nails and the capillary refill on your toes, okay? So your capillary refill was less than 3 seconds, which is good. And the capillary refill was less than 3 seconds bilaterally, which is good. And so now I'm gonna just palpate your dorsalis pedis pulse and your posterior tibial pulses. Okay. So your dorsalis pedis pulse was 2+ bilaterally, and the posterior tibial pulse was also 2+ bilaterally, which is good. Okay, so now I'm gonna be performing your abdominal assessment. And so I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna raise you straight up so I can do my inspection. In your arms. Okay, so I'm just gonna start by inspecting the abdomen, and I'm noticing that the color is consistent with ethnicity, and there's no striae present. And the abdomen is flat, and it's symmetric bilaterally, which is good. There's no bulging, there's no masses present, which is good, and respiratory movement is visible. So now I'm just gonna inspect your umbilicus, and the umbilicus is midline and inverted, which is good. And I'm just inspecting for any pulsations. And I'm noticing that there are no extra pulsations present, which is good. So now I'm gonna auscultate your bowel sounds. And I'm just gonna take a listen and determine how active they are, okay? And I'm starting at the right lower quadrant. Let me rest this just a little bit. So I'm starting at the right lower quadrant, and I'm noticing it's active here. The left upper quadrant, the right lower quadrant, the right upper quadrant, the left upper quadrant, and this is the left lower quadrant. And your bowel sounds are active in all 4 quadrants, which is good. So now I'm gonna percuss your abdomen, and just let me know if you feel any pain or tenderness. Oh, well, I'm just gonna percuss this time. So. Okay, so tympany predominates over the abdomen, which is good. So now I'm gonna perform a light palpation, and I'm just gonna move my hands in a circular motion, and just let me know if you feel any pain or tenderness, okay? Pain or tenderness here?
No.
Here?
No.
Here?
No.
Okay, so the abdomen was soft and there was no involuntary guarding, which is good. So now I'm going to perform a deep palpation and let me know again if you feel any pain or tenderness as I do this, okay? Okay, so upon palpation, there were no enlarged organs, there were no masses, and there was no tenderness, and there was no tenderness noted. Okay, so that'll be all for the abdominal assessment, and thank you so much for coming. Okay, Miss Haynes? Okay, you can lift your shirt down. Wait.